Assalamualaikum Doctor. This video is to fulfill requirement for group assignment under Islamic Wealth Management course. We choose question number 4, which is to discuss about zakat as a vital tool to support economic growth and welfare society in Muslim majority countries. This is our team members, which is Maizarul, Ashraf, Zahidi, Haida, Sasli and me, Rosmida. This is the agenda of our discussion. Okay, so I will start with the introduction. Surah Al-Baqarah verse 43 has mentioned that zakat is mandatory to all Muslims in order to become an obedient Muslim. However, zakat is not just an obligation, but it is one of the solutions to ease the suffering of people through a sustained charitable effort. For the religious purposes, zakat purifies soul and wealth and avoid from being selfish and greedy. Zakat has also become one of the significant tools to assist on economic growth and eliminate poverty. This resulted in Allah's blessing, establish brotherhood, elevate standard of living, and reduce gap in the society. From the perspective of Malaysia, zakat has helped in improving absolute poverty rate from 7.61% in 2016 to 5.6% in 2019. The absolute poverty rate improved in line with the increasing collection of zakat from RM 2.63 billion in 2016 to RM 2.80 billion in 2018. This happened through the implementation of suitable programs such as cash allowance, training, and business opportunity. Before we go to the deeper discussion, I will share an overview about zakat. Zakat is the third pillar of Islam and defined as an act of worship through expenditure of Muslim wealth. It is considered to be a personal responsibility for Muslims to ease economic hardship and eliminate inequality. Please be reminded that whoever refuses to fulfill the zakat obligation, he has committed a major sin and will be questioned in the hereafter. Prior to Hijrah, zakat is only compulsory to wealthy people who are close to Prophet ﷺ based on their willingness. After the second year of Hijrah, zakat became compulsory and an organized zakat system were established. There are two types of zakat, which are zakat al-fitr, donation during Ramadan, and zakat al-mal, which is zakat for wealth. Zakat for wealth refers to 7 categories, which are earning, business, saving, gold and silver, and others. Islam has outlined the condition on the obligation to pay zakat, which is Islam, absolute ownership towards the wealth, purpose of business, achieve the nisab, which is 85 grams of gold, and meet the haul for 1 year. The condition is to ensure that only eligible people with surplus from essential needs to pay zakat. Zakat collected should be distributed to the recipient that has been identified in the Al-Quran, Surah Al-Tawbah, verse 60. This verse has determined who is the needy, that zakat capable to help to uplift the poor and give comfort to those who are in hardship. So, for the next agenda, my team will continue the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosmida. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Roslan. I'm Nur Zahidi Abdul Rahman, and I will continue our group presentation about zakat as a vital tool to support economic growth in Muslims' majority country. Zakat, as we know, is a form of worship that is obligatory for every Muslim who meet the necessary criteria, where in its implementation, there is a socio-economic dimension in the form of the practice of distribution of wealth from those who can afford to those who cannot afford. Zakat also serves as a unique mechanism in the transfer of income and wealth to bridge the gap between rich and poor in society. Thus, in Islam has been applied the principle of how efforts can be made to improve the quality and well-being of human life, which in turn will contribute to the economic development in society and in the country. Meanwhile, through the distribution of zakat funds, efforts to stimulate the economic will happen directly where most of these funds are used to assist the target group financially as well as through the purchase of basic necessities, machinery, tools, and livestock. This zakat assistance will give them the opportunity to improve their standard of living much better. Economic growth is an increase in the production of goods and services over a specific period. To be more accurate, this measurement must exclude the effects of inflation. Economic growth creates more profit for business, which gives companies capital to invest and hire more employees. As more jobs are created, incomes rise. Consumers have more money to buy additional products and services. Higher purchases give a drive to higher economic growth. According to a research made, zakat is one of the proper indicators to measure economic growth. In other words, when many people pay zakat, the level of economic growth will become higher and vice versa. In order to support economic growth, the use of zakat should go hand in hand with solving economic problems such as unemployment, poverty, and income gaps. A proper management of zakat funds through a legitimate and recognized body can ensure that collection and distribution can be implemented effectively and efficiently. Economy and zakat are inseparable because zakat funds are indeed aimed at stimulating economic activities through the assistance of funds given to the recipients and in turn creating a better cash flow in the market. The economic activity will start to occur when zakat funds paid monthly to the poor and needy are used by them to buy basic necessities, which will also help local business to develop. Zakat can also be used to build or repair homes for asnaf in the country, thus will create employment and business opportunities for contractors and local business. Besides that, when these people get important basic needs such as shelter, monthly zakat assistance, and food, they will be more motivated and strive to work or do business to earn a stable income with the hope that one day they will no longer have to depend on the monthly zakat payment. Meanwhile, zakat that is distributed for education can help the asnaf to obtain a better quality education and training without the need to worry about financial problems. The distribution of zakat for education and human resources empowerment are aims to stimulate a better social life of the recipient. With a good education qualification, they have the opportunity to get a good job, and this will help reducing the unemployment rate in the country. By having a good and stable income, they can get out of poverty and in turn can become zakat contributors. The same goes for zakat, which is used to fund training for the poor and needy, where they can use the skills acquired to get a job or start doing a business. Education and training indeed are one of the most important social investments because it will benefit the country in the long run. Economic productivity increases as the number of educated workers increase, as skilled workers are able to perform their duties more efficiently. Industries with higher education and training requirements tend to pay workers higher wages. The knowledge and skills of workers available in the labor supply is an important key for both business and economic growth. Next, I will pass to my friend, Mr. Satsali, to continue with this presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Zahidi. I will continue the presentation on how zakat can help to support the economic growth. Zakat also encourages Asnaf to join any business development programs such as entrepreneur programs. Through this program, Zakat can provide capital assistance in the form of financial or equipment to those who are productive and keen to venture into business. This fund and assistance aim to help Asnaf to improve their standards of living or expand their existing businesses and at the same time will help to support the economic growth. By participating in this kind of program, they can get an opportunity for a stable income or increase in revenue from their current business, and this could help them to come out from the poverty line and live a better life. The involvement of strategic partners consisting of private companies and several relevant government agencies is also important in the implementation of economic development program for Zakat recipients. The support and involvement of the strategic partners in helping to provide training and skill will enable participants to gain knowledge, open job opportunities, as well as contribute to the company's support and expertise in the industry. This is also in line with Haris Riyaldi, where he stated that most of the zakat funds should be distributed in activities that can generate income as well as create job opportunities to those who are unskilled and untrained. In order to support economic growth in Muslim-majority countries, the distribution and use of zakat fund must be able to stimulate the economy so that the production of goods and services in the market can increase in terms of supply and demand. Apart from that, the poverty rate should be reduced and purchasing power increase among the population. For that to happen, the zakat collection rate must be higher so that more poor and needy staff can be helped to get out of poverty through more productive programs. Zakat system of distribution must meet the needs of society, especially the poor and needy, for their development. While producing goods and services, business need manpower and capital as input for their production processes. Labor demand in economic principle derive from the demand for company output. Distribution of zakat must lead to the creation of job demand to asnaf which can support economic growth. It is difficult to remove asnaf from poverty if zakat institution just concentrating on monthly alimony where it doesn't improve the economy in the long run. If this practice continues, then they will remain to be recipient of zakat and maybe for the whole life. Eradicating poverty through zakat system can help economy growth, but it's not an easy task to do. Directly helping the poor in terms of giving them a sum of money to buy their necessity probably just a short-term solution. More development programs and initiatives can be implemented if many people pay their zakat, which in the end will help to support the economic growth of a country. To ensure its success, there must be a holistic and synergistic effort from all parties, whether from zakat payers, zakat management institutions, zakat recipient, government, and also from strategic partners. Next, I'll pass to my friend for his presentation. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Maizarul. I will present the subtopic of zakat as a tool for the society welfare. Allah commands mankind in Al-Quran to pay zakat in order to use the surplus wealth of Muslim society to satisfy the essential needs of those who are less fortunate to have enough wealth of their own so they can enjoy the bounties of Allah and contribute to the progress of society. So many verses about zakat is mentioned in the Quran. It shows that every Muslim requires to take this matter seriously by sharing their wealth with the one who needs. The social responsibility in Islamic religion obligation is very important. Zakat is one of the tools for contribution in the social welfare. The zakat contribution is not just to ease the life of fakir, but it's also the life of the poor, but it also help to fulfill the needs of others, such as Fisabilillah, Mu'alaf, Rikab, Garimin, and Ibn Sabil, and also in Amil. In Malaysia, the distribution percentage of zakat collection is different from each state. Each state is represented by its Islamic religion to collect, identify the rightful asnaf, and distribute the zakat collection to them. So how zakat supports society welfare? Because every year zakat is used to help the poor by assisting their finance and alleviate poverty in the country. The amount of zakat to eligible recipients doesn't come with any interest attached, and the recipients are not required to pay it back either. Zakat is not limited to providing subsistence living for the poor people, but it rather aims at enriching them as in the future until they can stand on their own 2 feet without depending on zakat contribution. In other words, zakat works as a social charitable giving tool, and if managed properly, the recipients are able to establish themselves by starting small businesses to meet their subsistence need. So, how zakat supports society welfare? In the system of zakat provides the regular relief as well as emergency aid. We can learn from the Islamic history of Umayyad Caliph Omar ibn Abdul Aziz. He divided zakat into many shares. For example, a shares for the ill, the handicapped, the needy person for the or group who cannot provide for themselves, the destitute until they can be removed from destitution, a share for the prisoner too, for those who begs and for those who do not, the person who ever in debts provided that such debt did not arise from the disobedience to Allah, and a share for every traveler in difficulty. Such travelers should be given food and shelter as well as feed for the transportation animal until they reach home. This system does not cover only needy Muslims but extended to needy non-Muslims who live in the Islamic State, as Omar indicated by including the elderly Jewish men and the ill Christians in this social insurance. Narrated by Yahya bin Sa'id, who was also one of the governors in the compilation, he said, I was sent by Omar ibn Aziz to collect zakat to Africa. After collecting it, I intended to give it to the poor. However, I did not find anyone. Omar ibn Abdul Aziz had made everyone at that time rich. Finally, I decided to use my zakat to free the slaves. Apart from that narration, there is also a letter from Caliph Umar ibn Abdul Aziz to his officer Urwah bin Muhammad, which proves that he always takes the weight of the fakir compared to the poor. The attitudes of the people which change from the loving worldly things to loving worship is also a basic thing that contributes to the success of Caliphate Umar ibn Abdul Aziz in managing poverty during his reign.
Continue the presentation on the implementation part for social welfare. In this slide, I will touch a few examples done by our zakat institutions in helping the poor and the vulnerable group. Before we proceed, let's see first the definition of social welfare. Social welfare or society welfare can be defined as a system that provides assistance to individuals and families in need. The types and amount of welfare available is vary depending on the country, state and region. Prophet Muhammad SAW in one hadith said that blessed is the wealth of a Muslim from which he gives to the poor, the orphans and the needy travelers. Zakat involved or related to fiqh ibadah and also fiqh muamalah. Fiqh ibadah is about man to God relationships, whereas fiqh muamalah is about man to man relationship. Doing a welfare work in Islam touches both aspects of fiqh ibadah and also fiqh muamalah. According to Jauhar in 2016 alone, the total collection of zakat is ringgit Malaysia 2.631 billion. Out of this amount, 75% goes to direct distribution and only 25% goes to indirect distribution. Example of direct distributions are monthly allowances, basic housing necessities, treatment for major illness, debt settlement, taxi leasing, agricultural aid, scholarship and education financing. Meanwhile, for indirect distribution are for management and establishment of educational institutions such as children's centers and preschools, as well as Quranic Memorization Institute or Tahfiz, managed by the respective state religious council. Taking for instance the practice by Majlis Agama Islam Kuala Lumpur, MAWIB, it has categorized 5 types of zakat assistance which are for asnaf development, education, housing, self-independent or independency, and for ummah development. The eligibility for zakat assistance is very depending on the respective state religious council. However, the general requirements are the applicant must be a Malaysian, a Muslim, has resided in that particular state for certain years, usually not less than 1 year, and of course, subject to the kifayah calculation. Okay, next. How zakat is distributed to support the existing social welfare system that run by the government? Usually there are 4 approaches. The first one, conventional application at the zakat counter. Meaning that the applicant must come to the zakat agency, fill up the respective form with necessary supporting documents and wait for the approval. The second one, through online application with the help of technology. For instance, Lembaga Zakat Selangor has introduced an online application named eZakat Online. The applicant can apply for zakat through this platform, uploading the necessary document and wait for the approval, which will be made online as well. The third one is the information from the public about the targeted recipients, which is ASNAF, that are reluctant to apply for any zakat assistance or do not have basic knowledge about the facilities provided. And the fourth one, the zakat agency or zakat institution establish a squad Asnaf Prihatin, whereby this team they will go directly to the targeted group to help them. Okay, we see that the practice at the Muslim majority countries in supporting social welfare and helping the poor through zakat are almost the same because the target recipients are as mentioned in the Holy Book Al-Quran. Okay, next I will pass to Haida. She will touch on the issues, challenges and also recommendation.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor. I'm Haida and I will present about the issues and challenges. Okay, our group identify 4 issues and challenges that facing by the zakat institution, mainly among the Islamic countries and from the Malaysia perspective. Okay, first, ineffective management, less awareness on the benefits or religious rules of zakat among the zakat payers, and this will affect the number of zakat collection is less than total population of Muslim, and the amil also not fully utilized to get down to find potential asnaf instead by public report or head of village. And the second issue is the bureaucracy. Potential asnaf reluctant to apply because of the requirement procedure. They have to apply it every year and through online applications. And zakat institution also lack of knowledge and transparency. This will influence negative perceptions among the publics because NGO such as Pertubuhan Ummah Malaysia and Persatuan Pengguna Islam Malaysia can take fast action in terms of distribution to the poor people without no bureaucracy and standard operating procedure. And third issue is the sources of income generation initiative. Poor permanently become recipient instead transform and become payers. This is because zakat institution prepare huge contribution of zakat in terms of monthly allowance instead of capacity building. And last issue is the collections. Online payment to facilitate zakat payer has argument among the publics on the readiness of Malaysia, and there is no uniformity on the mechanism of zakat collection among the zakat institution. Okay, next is the recommendation. Okay, our group identify 4 recommendations to improve the zakat institution. Okay, first is to strengthen the roles of the amirs to actively get down to find potential asnaf. Second, zakat institution need to coordinate with microfinance institutions such as Amanah Ikhtiar Malaysia and Tekun to improve the distributions of fund and sharing of knowledge, expertise and resources. And third, zakat institution needs to improve delivery service by using the finance technology. They can improve portal of zakat center and have e-wallet like Boost, MyEG and online banking. And zakat still also website also need to be more attractive and informative so that they can increase the loyal zakat payer. And last, zakat institution need to improve database by working closely with the NGO and government agencies that can improve the database and also to combat issues on homeless people. Okay, now we move to the conclusions. Okay, based on our group analysis, our group agree that zakat play an important role in supporting economic growth. This is because zakat helps generate a flow of funds and recruit necessary manpower through the comprehensive structure of zakat collection and distribution. Zakat also affect positively the rates of growth of the economy in terms of poverty alleviation, reducing unemployment, and the rates of inflation. Zakat also play an important role in supporting social welfare in Muslim countries. This is because zakat closely related to the Al-Maqasid Sharia and the well-being of society, where it is a form of solidarity and social security guarantee for the poor and needy. Zakat also can be a bridge of harmony that connects among the ummah through a spirit of brotherhood. Therefore, all resources must be utilized efficiently and equitably to fulfill the needs of all and for equitable distribution of income and wealth. Okay, that's all from our group. Thank you.